right, gang, we're back. We got welcome to episode number 4 of Unlocking Your Potential. Today I'm joined with a very special guest, Eddy Karimi. Thank you for joining me today, my brother.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Eddy, you got a special story, mate, and I hope that your story inspires a lot of people. I haven't gone too far back with you before and would love to today, but when I first met you, I remember it was crystal clear in my mind. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, you had some termite problems, and I came out one afternoon, and you said, what do we do? And I said, we kill the termites, and this is how we're gonna do it.
So I literally just Googled termite inspector, and yeah, mate, you came to the building next door, and if I remember correctly, you were like, "Is this your building?"
That was a few years back, and you were quite young. I think
Yeah.
early 30s or late 20s.
Let's call it 10 years ago. I was probably 26 or something.
Yeah, so it's a fair question to ask.
Fair question. Is this your commercial property?
Is this your place or are you the tenant?
Yeah, and I think then I said to you, "Hey, mate, can you do maintenance and stuff?" And I probably asked you to do some more of my properties, like Astley shops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I sparked your interest, and we started talking property, and you were keen, but you didn't think it was possible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, at the time I just started sort of working. I think it was about a year or two that I was into the workforce. So I didn't know what to do. You work, and you don't know what to do. What's the next steps? So I try to ask you a few questions. What the go is regarding loans. It was a sort of a dark area. I didn't know what the.
I remember it clearly, mate, because I remember the first meeting that we had, and you had bad credit. It wasn't something hectic. You weren't bankrupt, but you had missed a Telstra payment or something like that.
Yeah, bloody Telstra.
It was like you got a default on your name, and of course we can't get a mortgage without it. So my first step to you was, "Hey, mate, go to this specialist lawyer who removes defaults," and you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to now, you're 31 and you got over $7 million of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in between? Let's talk about it. When I first met you, you were a couple of years in business and had a bad credit.
Mm.
Tell me what started changing. What was going through your head?
There was no real plan. I think, like I said, when you start working and you work and you try and save up a bit, then you look at what to do with those savings. You can either buy shares or property. And I guess property was, it's an Australian dream to sort of own your own place. But I didn't think it was possible for me at that time when I met you.
I think you were pretty scared when I told you how much you could borrow.
Yeah, and also I was scared of just borrowing in general. It's, $1 million in debt seems very scary. Like, I think at the time the max credit I had was a $10,000 credit card from CBA. That's when I was a student because I was broke as hell, and I was basically sort of getting by on that $10,000 credit. Using $1,000 of that credit card and then trying to pay it back.
And then here you come into mad and I give you $1 million pre-approval.
Yeah, because I'd never met a broker before you. I sort of never thought about it. Yeah.
So that property, how much did you pay for the first one?
The first one, it was about $1 million. That's a 920.
And you sold it?
Sold it at or shouldn't have sold it, but I did sell it for not much profit.
Yeah.
It broke even.
And then, and I remember very clearly with you, I tried to bring you as close as possible to the city, but you bought a bit further out for your first one, eh?
Yeah, in Holm Park West.
Yeah, but it was still a good buy anyway.
Yeah, I shouldn't have sold it.
Yeah. Maybe it was it must have been the first one. I seen something else you bought that was a little bit further out.
No, that was
that the one?
The Holm Park West.
Holm Park West isn't farther out at all anymore.
No, but I moved. It was too big, so I was living there with my brother, and he moved out. He got his own place, thanks to you guys. And then we didn't know what to do, so I was either going to rent it out or sell it. But I sold that one, and one day I met a client of mine in Norman Park, and he was telling me how he was building across the road, a pretty fancy place, and they were eventually going to sell the one they were living in, and I said, "Well, can I make you an offer?" And he said, "Sure."
And that's how you bought. Was that McIlrath?
Macarade, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
How much did you buy that for?
750.
750, and you took an opportunity that was in front of you. So it wasn't on the market. You just happened to be doing a job for a bloke,
Mm-hmm.
and you got it for 750.
Yeah.
And you own that still?
No, I'll be out of there.
What'd you sell that for?
Sold for 1.12.
You do anything to it?
No.
Nice. So you haven't always won though. Tell me about your experience with shares.
So in that lull period, once I sold Home Park West, I'm always like, you know, after that, I was a bit more curious what other opportunities out there. And for some reason, I thought I'd try my luck with shares. It didn't do well at all.
How much you lose?
A fair bit.
Look, the key here is you don't invest where you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I know real estate, and I'm a big promoter of real estate, and I've lost in real estate as well. I've bought apartments and lost early in my first property, my second property,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never played in shares because I don't get them. Would you tell anyone watching this just stick to what you know?
Yeah, stick to what you know, but I think that the way the Australian tax system is set up, I think it incentivizes people to, own their own home. And yeah, and for me, it was like I tried my luck with shares, but I obviously didn't have the guidance or the knowledge to sort of make good decisions. So yeah, tried my luck there, didn't do well, lost a bit of money, and then I came back to property. I sold all my shares, came back to property, and back in 2022, I managed to purchase 4 with the savings that I had.
4 properties.
One in Tarragindi, Salisbury, Wollongabba,
I think I remember that
and Auchenflower.
it was pretty full on.
Yeah,
You bought a lot of real estate.
yeah, and I think I was lucky as well, because there was a sort of a dip in the market.
So you bought 4 properties in 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and they've served you pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go through them all, right? So let's go through the first one. What suburb?
Wollongabba,
How much you paying for that?
880.
What's it worth now?
I originally sold it for 145.
You do anything to it?
I spent about close to 180.
Yep.
On renovating it. Yeah.
Second property?
Tarragindi,
How much you pay for that? That's Barmore.
Barmores.
I had a house on the same street.
Yeah.
And how much you pay for that?
1,050,000.
And would you sell it for?
Yeah, I still own it.
What's it worth now?
I don't know, but I mean, the properties, similar properties selling for 1.7.
Number 3?
Salisbury.
Mm-hmm. Salisbury's killing at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought it was a good area because it was, adjacent to Tarragindi.
Yep. What did you pay for that?
I bought the land for 650, and I've built a house on it. So I think it's about 1.7, 1.8 by the time it's finished.
Yep. And what does it cost? What did it cost you to buy the land and build?
About 145.
And then the last property?
Auchenflower.
Then would you pay for that?
Um,
That's a cracker suburb.
yeah, Auchenflower was 1,116,000. I think it's close to 2.
Still got that one?
Yeah,
That's one of the current portfolio. And you've also dabbled into commercial now.
yeah. We needed our own space because I had a tiling business and a pest control business.
Yep.
So we needed some, shed basically. So we purchased a place in Rockley, and yeah.
So rather than renting a premises for the business,
Mhm.
you decided to buy a commercial property. What was that? Was it a bit scary going into commercial?
No, like debt wise, I mean, once you sort of, like I said, I was saying to you earlier, that once you get over the hurdle of, debt, what your borrowing capacity is and what your repayments are going to be, you get very sort of that fear sort of goes away. And as long as you have sort of the income to sort of support that, then it's a lot less scarier.
So for people watching who are looking, we only got one life at this ready, right? We only got one chance at this life. And they go, you know what? I want to be like that. I want to have a fair bit of property. to give me income so I can have a better life later. That's what we're all doing it for, right? You can't live in 4 properties, but you're doing this for future, Eddie.
Mm.
So, but people look at the mortgages and go, how does Eddie must owe millions of dollars? How does he sleep at night?
Mm.
And you once were in that same mindset, being scared, and now you're not scared. It's because of why do you think?
A lot.
What would you tell those people?
I mean, if you have a good someone who's walked the walk, like for me, it was you, through your guidance, and I've seen what you've done with your investments. It's that I think that's the biggest thing, because anyone can be. There's a lot of brokers out there.
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of get that confidence from a broker who might have one property to his name and expect him to guide you on having 5, 10, 20 properties. So I think the biggest thing is, if you're like, for example, I'll use you as an example. The people that work around you, Costa, I don't know the other ones, but yeah, Costa I'm familiar with, or even CC. With your help and your guidance, even with I assume not very high incomes, but because of they bought early, like Costa bought in to Carina Heights, a double block for 860. Now that's more than doubled in value. But at the time, for them, they were, well, without your sort of metaphorically holding their hand and saying yes, you can do it, I don't think they would have been able to do it.
And that's a common theme amongst most people I've interviewed is people, if they don't believe in themselves, need to have someone have belief in them. But number 2, it's very important to have a role model or someone who's walked the path before you, who's practicing what they're preaching to give you the confidence that you need that you may not have yet. You're a first-time buyer and you may not have the confidence, but we've got the confidence to help you to buy that property.
Yeah, and I guess no one has a crystal ball. But once you get that taste, like you buy 5 years ago, like if I'd known, go back in 2020 before COVID, like buy 1 million properties, and they would have all tripled.
Over 10 properties in Woodridge, mate. And I've been talking about Woodridge for years. Eddie, no one ever said to me, I bought too many properties.
I should have listened to my mum. She was the best. She's like, always, every time, buying Woodridge.
Now it's $1 million, Scubbo. I was doing loans out there for 260, 300 grand. What I wouldn't mind doing with you is, when did you move to Australia?
2005, so 20 years now.
So how old were you?
11.
11. And where were you guys living? Were you renting?
Yeah, we were. Our first place was old cottage in Ronga, a 3-bedroom cottage, and then we were in townhouse, like 4 of us and 3 of us in a bedroom, basically.
So to be frank with you, right, did you flee Afghanistan because of war?
Yeah, my dad took us out of there. Yeah, because of.
So you fled Afghanistan because of a war. When you were 11 years old, you moved here and you were renting a townhouse with how big's your family?
7 people.
And I'm not assuming you moved over here with millions of dollars in the bank.
Well, I'll give you a sort of, until I was 21, I had like negative $100,000 to my name. So I was broke. Because I was in uni until I was 21. And I was literally, not kidding you, living on a student. I don't know how they gave me a credit card, because I went to 3 banks. Most of them said no. And then CBA is like, yeah, here you go.
I'll give anyone money, man.
Here's a $10,000 credit card. I had like a part-time job and literally just broke as hell. Like I couldn't get by. Like, basically.
What was the motivation, brother? What motivated Eddie to change his life?
The motivation wasn't to change my life, but motivation was to be able to not feel helpless. I don't know if you're familiar, but with a lot of ethnic families that come up here, a lot of the pressure is go to uni, get a job, that sort of thing. They're very risk adverse. For me, like, that was my only path, but I hated it. I hated engineering. I was like, this is not for me. Any desk job sitting idle, like, I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed. I'm a very jittery person. Like I need to move, need to be out there, and I could not imagine myself sitting in one place in an office desk. I was like, even if I pass engineering, I will suck at it and I'll hate it.
There's no passion there.
No. So the motivation was seeing my old man at 62, 61 years old, still supporting us because my brothers and siblings were all doing uni. It was very, I guess, hard to see. Him still like supporting us financially. So that was the sort of the kick up the ass to get your shit together and try and do something so that he can stop working. Because my dad had kids very late. He was 40 when he got married. So by the time we were 20, 25, he was already at 60. So that was the motivation.
So the motivation was to become successful to help your family.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word successful. The motivation was to earn a living and then be able to support, my parents.
But is that your definition of success? It would be.
Yes, but for me, it was more fulfillment. It's fulfillment that I was after, and
a lot of people. The reason I love this about you is humility, and have humility as a core value of mine, mate. But a lot of people define success as a Porsche and a Lamborghini and a Rolex, whereas your definition of success is helping the family. That's what fills your cup.
I mean, there's steps to it. So there's when at that time for me it was like just being able to help the old man get off work, stop working. That was, and then you get to the next step because you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years or 10 years.
No, but that's what you wanted though, right? You wanted that. You visualize. I want to help. I want to get my dad off the tools.
Yeah, I vividly remember this. I was in uni and I was like, I'm gonna earn a living. I joked to him, and he came off work one day, and he looked at me with very little hope, and he almost mocked the fact that I said to him that I'm gonna find a job and I'm gonna help you. I always remember that, and he looked at me with, because for them it's very hard to see it, because for them they think that you're gonna have to do 4 years of uni, and then by the time you pay off your debt, and it's very hard for them to, I guess, for him, it was very hard for him to see that. So that was like my burner and motivation to say, you know what, I'm gonna prove this guy wrong.
Yeah, that's good. And is he off the tools now?
Yeah, he's been retired for a few years.
Yeah. Eddy, let's talk about your business. EPM. When did it start?
So it was started by my dad.
Yep.
He was doing sort of part-time casual pest control.
Mm-hmm.
And on the side, he had an office job.
Yep.
And when I wanted to leave uni, I had two options. I could have joined the army as like try and get into the army and as like an engineer. So hopefully they would pay me and also to study. But then I was like, no, that didn't work out. I tried it. I think I did one of their tests. I went to the city and they're like, no, you're not cut out for it. I was like, okay.
All right. That's not for me.
That's not for me.
You didn't really want to do it anyway.
Maybe. If they'd said yeah, maybe I would have gone down that path. But then I sort of thought, why not help my dad? Like, because I was helping him anyway on the side, like, when he needed help on a few days a week. But then I got a job in a few pest control companies. Did that for 2 years to get experience and knowledge and obviously get trained up. And ever since then, sort of, it's been sort of 10 years now since I've been doing pest control.
So you went into the family business, which it was a side hustle for the dad. His real job was office. Mm-hmm. And you took that business to the next level. Where's that business now? How many staff is it?
At the moment, we're 2 office staff and about 8 guys on the road.
8 guys on the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty big business, Eddy. Like, it's helped support you by a fair bit of property. Mm-hmm. And so there's a fair bit of love and motivation in that business to get it where it is.
Yeah, and I for me, I love what I do.
That's such a good point, because everyone I've interviewed it loves their job. They love what they do. Do you reckon you could be successful if you weren't passionate about what you did? Like if you took that job in the army doing the engineering, do you reckon you'd be excited to wake up and go to work?
No.
Everyone is put on this planet to do something. And we'll put on this planet to run EPM and help people remove termites from their house.
Well, I've been in the service sort of industry. I dabbled with a business partner of mine in tiling.
Yep.
Did that for 2 years. We sort of parted ways last year because it didn't work out. He's still running it, but in terms of numbers, like that was doing high numbers, but the bit I was not passionate about it, and I was sort of leaving it to him to sort of run the show. But yeah, my sort of forte was pest control and termite work.
So people watching this, a lot of people think they're going to go to uni to become successful, become an engineer. A lot of people watching this will be thinking that because that pressure still is. I go to the schools, and a lot of people think that's the route. But you're not the only person who has taken over a family business, which was a side hustle from a parent, and taken to the next level. And so it truly means that anyone can be successful, but they've got to find what their passion is. Got to find what they love doing.
Sometimes you don't know.
You just got to.
Sometimes it's luck. Like for me, like I'll give you an example. Like if I could start. I have connections to start a painting business, but if I'm not passionate about it, if I'm not filled by the work that I do, there's not a lot of hope that you will, go out there and give it your all, because regardless of what industry you go in, there is obviously an element of who you are. And I always thought I was a lazy prick.
You're not lazy. You're one of the hardest workers I know.
But you don't know. Like you sometimes, these inherent traits, come out that you don't know about. Like you sometimes doubt yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. You doubt yourself in whether it's you're able to purchase a property, or whether you'll be able to run this business, or whether you'll be good at your job. I think the biggest thing is, learn to just give it your all and don't look back. And like if a numpty like me can do it, then so can anyone else. And for me, it's always what you said. Like what you said, we're doing this to have a more, create a future. So once we have kids, you want to have, be in a stable financial position, be given the opportunities to your kids that you weren't given as a kid.
So the fire in Eddy Karimi's belly, it makes him really want to prove his dad wrong that he can do it, which you've done it. But you found your passion and you work hard and you had a vision for your future. So when I have children, I want to be able to give to what I wasn't given. You never once complain about your childhood, but I understand what you're saying. You want to send them to maybe a private school, take them on to Disneyland, go to holidays.
Yeah, be able to afford camps.
I understand it.
Like in to give you an example, like $100 camp or like $1,000, joining footy soccer club, that was out of the question for when I was a kid. Like it was very hard for my dad to be able to fork that out. Like my brother could join a footy, soccer club because he was very good at it, and my dad thought, why not? But for me, and I asked, no, sorry,
you're not good enough, mate.
No. So all these little things.
But a lot of these things are correlating with other success stories, mate. Vision, you need to sort of know where you want to go. Passion and a work ethic and love seems to be the mixture for success here. That's from what I've made. You're the fourth person me interview, and that seems to be what keeps coming out.
I personally think, because I don't know, it depends who your sort of circle is. To me, it's not that far-fetched that a 30-year-old can buy a few properties.
The average age of an Australian Eddie buying their first house is 36 years old. You're 31 with 3 resi properties in A+ suburbs and a commercial property worth over $7 million is not normal. Now, it seems not far-fetched for you now because you've been doing this for a while and you now understand the process. You understand that you're from Afghanistan. I'm traditionally from Greece. 500,000 people move in this country every year. 180,000 to Queensland. We know for sure that housing's a goer.
Mhm.
I go to the schools, bro, and I've probably spoken to thousands of kids this year, maybe 4,000 kids. And one of the first questions I ask them is, I would like you all to raise your hand if you want to rent for the rest of your life. No one puts their hand up.
So they're already sort of thinking about it.
No one puts their... Who wants to rent for the rest of their life, mate?
When I was 16, those sort of thoughts never came to my head. If you own your own property or not.
The biggest thing I have an issue with in this country is financial literacy. That's the biggest problem I find.
Well, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, like home ownership, bills, etc., they're out of the question. Interest, debt, like none of those are sort of.
Not spoken about. And what brought it to the top of your attention was me Googling termite rectification 10 years ago and talking to me, and then that sort of sparked it up.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing was, like I joked about it before, like, are you even the owner here, or you're just like someone's, where's your dad? Where's the real owner? So, meeting you, and then we had a chat. I think I came to your office again, and we sort of talked about it. And that's what I mean. Like when you see people that have done those steps that,
That's so true, mate.
it's
So,
sort of.
I'm going to tell you a story right now, right? I haven't said this one on the podcast. So you have to see someone who's done it before.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you an inspiring story about my grandfather. Have I told you this story? So the bloke was an immigrant from Egypt, okay? But he was Greek. But a lot of Greeks moved to Egypt because it's like everyone moving here for the mines. They were there for the Suez Canal construction. So he was there for 3 generations. And then there was a big issue in Egypt, and the king fled and pinched a lot of gold, and there was a big coup from the army. And the issue was the Egyptian army, who was the government, basically said, "Hey, everyone, sorry, Greeks, French, Italians, when we're employing people, we've got to employ the Egyptians first." So my grandfather, 18 years old, diesel mechanic by trade, goes, "Well, I'm here to make money and I can't get a job." They had a cousin living in West End, and he moved here, and he worked up in the mines as a diesel mechanic. And I know his story so well because he's told it to me so many times. God rest his soul, he's passed now, but very inspiring. Retired at 39 years old, and I'm 36, not much older than me. Bloke retired with 4 service stations, house in Raby Bay, penthouse down the Gold Coast, and 2 properties in Greece. Athens penthouse and a house in Halkidiki. Very special place. And I would always think in my mind, when I started becoming of age, 17, 18, and you knowing a little bit of my history, thinking if this guy can do it, I can do it. What's my excuse? I educated this country. I can speak English. I have got a network. And I always thought that in my mind, if he can do it, I can do it. And like you said before, you probably met me and you're probably going, "Who's just like a..." If this guy can do it, I can do it. It's probably what you thought. Because it is easier than you think. And a lot of people have a fixed mindset and they think, "I can't do it, I can't do it." And I just want to shake them and go, "Mate, you can." I got 2 of my staff, I don't like calling them staff, 2 of my team members are 19 years old and they bought their first property last week. Both of them. 19 years old, bro. If they can do it, anyone can do it. I 100% know people on a lot more income than them, and you talk about property ownership and they tell you more excuses than you've heard in your life. Excuses is the oxygen of negativity. Eliminate excuses from your life and you can achieve anything.
Well, I think in terms of, once you get a job, I think the safest bet and probably one of the better investment decisions is to, put that money into home ownership.
Well, what's the other option, Eddie? Renting. True? You either have to rent or buy. The average rent in Brisbane is $630 a week. $630 a week over 52 weeks, over 30 grand a year. Times that by 10, nearly 400 grand of rent. How much did you buy property for 10 years ago? What's it worth today?
Sure.
It's an investment. It's for your future. It's so we can retire younger and live a great life. We only got one chance at it, right?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if I was to sort of, take time back, um, I would have, I would have loved to not gone down the share path, and I would have, if I had just stuck to property, and with a few tweaks and better decisions, I would have been in a lot better financial situation.
Mate, you're 31. You're doing all right.
But my point was about if you don't know shares, you can't generally go wrong with property. At the end of the day, you need a roof over your head. There's a lot of crazes nowadays. A lot of hype with stuff I don't understand. Bitcoin and all these sort of very volatile that I see a lot of young kids talk about, and I sort of scratch my head. And I'm like, there was that time where 2 years back there was, what was it, NFTs, digital art, all these ridiculous things, and I still there are still stuff like that you can't touch and see, and unless you're an expert at it, stay away from it, because I think it's a lot of that becomes sort of gambling, in my opinion. Not so much Bitcoin, but other, all these other crypto stuff that people talk about. Everyone thinks that this is the next best thing, or this is the next Bitcoin, and I don't know. I think it's a very it's sort of, I'm in awe of like young kids. Every time there's the hype is there, they love talking about it.
But what I feel sorry for the young kids. There's so much distraction to what the true success is sitting in this chair, mate. Your wealth is not normal, all right? You're 31, and all you had to do was find something that you love, which, again, you're quite lucky that you found it young, and then go hard at it and buy real estate. And the compounding effect is a guaranteed result for a beautiful life. It's a safe way to do it. It's not a risky way of doing it, is it?
No. For me, it's like if you meet people, if you're lucky enough to meet people, like I was lucky enough to meet you, and sort of see it, young guy can do it and take that first step. I know this is what you do for work, but I've met a few brokers over my time. There's people that can, I guess, fill out the paper.
Write a loan.
Yeah, write a loan for you. But then there's people that are very passionate. Like you're very passionate about this industry. You're very passionate, and I'm not just saying from personal experience. I've seen how you do it with Costa. You've been to 2 auctions. You're literally there bidding for him.
I've done it for many
He's like,
people.
I can't do it. You're like, you can. So, and he's reaped the benefits, and I don't think that's sort of normal. I don't think if you probably don't think much of it, but that's the main thing. People don't know how to make that jump.
It's because I get to see inside people's bank accounts, and I saw the people who have done phenomenally well, and it's like a blueprint to go, okay, if I just do this, and it served me well. And so I'm the kind of guy that if I go to a good restaurant, I'm going to tell everyone about that restaurant. I've done well in real estate. I'm going to tell everyone, this is what we look for.
Yeah.
Go to closest cities you can. No main roads, not on a train stop. A good suburb on a good street, close as you can to the city. It does well.
And sometimes that can be difficult. Like, you're sharing it from a perspective of helping others, not to rub it in people's faces.
No.
And depends. Everyone's different. Some may take it the wrong way, but I think generally, if people are switched on and clued on, they can gauge that you're there.
It's always coming from a good place, and that's why the business, mate, still 14 years later, 75% of the business is from referrals.
Yeah, and I've seen you grow from a team of 5 to, I don't know, 40, whatever you are now. Your office capacity is more than tripled. I mean, I've recommended you to quite a few people.
So many. I'm very appreciative of it, mate.
But that's not like I said. I've tried to get my sister on and get her in the first place. We weren't fortunate enough to make the move. But there was a townhouse we went to see a year or two ago for 400. Now it's 720. Like, it's ridiculous. Like Brisbane, I think.
It's a goer. We were in the Broncos grand final for the men's and women's, and the Lions grand final, and the Origin, and we got the Olympics coming.
I mean, I don't know how many people have, seen Sydney and the property prices in Sydney. Every time I go, my jaw hits the floor because
They're paying $85 million for a house, mate. It's so far ahead of us that it is so obvious what's happening to Brisbane, and it will continue happening.
it's hard for me to see the value as to why. I mean, Sydney Harbour is beautiful, and Sydney is a pretty place, and it is a world-class city. But if I compare it to Brisbane, I'm like, I would much rather live in Brisbane.
I love Brisbane.
Yeah.
I love it. I was in Sydney on the weekend, and I flew back here, kissing the floor all over the place. It's the best city in the world, mate. We got the coast, up the coast, Noosa, down the coast, Brisbane. It's a great place to live, and that's why would we leave? Like, so many people leave Brisbane.
I mean, if people want to complain that Brisbane prices are too high, they haven't seen Sydney.
You got to go to Sydney and Melbourne to see what they're paying. What kind of impact do you want to have on someone watching this podcast?
I mean, I think anyone that would resonate would be sort of a young person just starting in the workforce, or if someone similar age. The biggest hurdle is that first, signing that first contract. At the end of the day, whether it's a rental contract or a purchase contract, you're committing yourself. For me, it was a big fear to commit myself to that first purchase. I remember backing myself out. I was like, nah, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. But then George is like, just do it.
Just do it, mate.
Just do it. So yeah, once it's that first commitment, and find someone that can help you understand. And for me, it was like yourself. I saw that what you had done with your income and what your savings, you bought property, you've done very well out of it, and with your help, I've sort of followed that path. And I didn't obviously I didn't follow it properly because, like I said to you, I bought my first property, then I went to shares, and then I kicked myself that I didn't follow it through. But I came back into it. Back yourself, as in it's not like don't overcomplicate it.
So if I was to wrap up what I learned from you today, mate, is you don't have to go to uni to be successful. You do have to work hard, though, whatever you do. And it's easy if you're passionate about what you do. People make mistakes. You bought your first house. Well, you had bad credit. People make mistakes, but it doesn't define them. And you learn from them. You invested in shares and you lost a fair bit of money, but you learned from it, and now you're back on the property train.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, you do have a vision, because your vision, and I think every successful person's got a vision. You got to see your future self at 80, at 40, at 50. And yours is crystal clear from a young age. My success defined for me is supporting my family. And you've done a hell of a job, mate. And you're very inspiring. And like you said, if Eddy can do it, an immigrant who moved to this country, his family rented a townhouse with 7 people in that house, and if you can now be worth over $7 million at 31 years old, anyone can do it.
Anyone can watch this. Like, I watch people that have 100 properties. Sort of nail it down to sort of what actionable steps you can take today, and what you can take from, like, let's say you watch this video, a previous video. What have they done? Start from the scratch. Don't look 10 steps ahead. Start with the first one. Your first investment property. Myself, when I bought my first place, I wasn't thinking, this will double.
Not my dream house. Stepping stone.
You're not sure where this will go, but I think if your first step is just purchase your first property, you need that roof over your head.
Was renting or owning?
Yeah, renting or owning, and the beauty of, I guess, if you buy well and at a good time, the equity, you know, just picks up itself. Like if you look around at the moment, there's no job shortage. You know, there's a million jobs out there. Back when I was starting, you know, there was like it was very hard to get a job. Nowadays, it's the opposite. It's hard for employers to find workers.
The compounding effect starts becoming ridiculous
Yeah.
of equity. Like, let me break this down. If you got a $7 million portfolio today and the market moves 10%, and it's probably going to move closer to 20 this year. Say it moves 10, you make 700 grand in capital growth in a year. You can't save that money.
No.
And that's how it's just the rich get richer.
Especially if it's their own home. There's no tax.
Yeah. The government wants you to own your own house.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, thank you very much, mate. That was a fantastic podcast. I really hope some people are inspired from Eddie's story. I know I am. And I'm really proud of you, mate. And thanks for being a long-term decade customer.